a personal note, Ree, what is your why?
When I look in the mirror, I see a girl, beautifully broken, perfectly flawed. I don't even know how I made it this far. And I'm asking myself questions like, why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? Then I said, you can get through it. You just have to.
Went off to college, played college basketball, and when I got out of school, I started coaching. And you don't realize when you're doing all of this. Well, I didn't realize it when I was doing all this, that I was creating a lifestyle for myself. And people would come up to me often and ask me, how do you still look the same way? And I didn't think, in my mind I was thinking, well, all I do is ... But it was all movement. I was moving. I was eating well, but I didn't think about it as eating well because it just came along with the territory of being an athlete, and obviously it gave me great benefits in my life because I like to think that I'm pretty healthy, and I have to make comparisons to my mom, who I give credit to for me being on this journey that I'm on, because the way her life went, a lot of things she wasn't in control of, the way she grew up, being without her parents and having to be raised by her grandmother, and she just kind of had to take the hand that she was dealt, and she dealt with a lot of depression. I learned a whole lot going through. I learned a whole lot about my mother when I went through her disability case, and I learned that she was in a house fire and she had to sit out of school for the year, and I don't even think she finished high school, and that played a whole lot with her mental status. And at some point in her life she turned to alcohol, and I started realizing that alcohol was a way to mask her pain and her reality that she was dealing with. To this day, I don't drink, I won't drink. It's just not something that I'll partake in because of the life that she lived and what I saw it do to her. I grew up, I saw drugs, I saw all kinds of stuff growing up, depression, losing my brother in a car accident, my mother, having to deal with a son that got killed in the car accident. She didn't have answers, and she wanted to know why, and the impact that had on my family. And I was just trying to figure out, how can I help? I was always put in a position of being a helper. And I feel like this, because of everything that I went through and the position that I am in, the position that I was in before, I'm fortunate to be able to feel like I have a calling for health, wellness, and fitness. And that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's the reason why I give so much of myself, because I see the impact that it makes in people's lives, and I know the benefits of it.
It makes me say, why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I will run. Then I'll come out even better than before, and I'll never see this place anymore, 'cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way, and the fact that I survived another day makes me say,
Where do you find your motivation for your daily journey?
I want to take everybody on, and I know that's not realistic to be able to take everybody on, but it's a great thing to see that people are buying into it. They see it because they see the consistency, and part of this journey is being consistent, and I try not to do anything that I can't be consistent at doing. I find motivation there. I find motivation in knowing that my grandmother, I have a will of my great grandmother, and she lived to be 104 years old, and I wake up thinking, how did she do it? I wish she was here today so I could ask her, but I don't know what she did. But I gotta believe that it had to be, stress. She couldn't have been stressed every day, because stress kills people. her health had to be better than my mother. My mother died at the age of 55, you know, so she'll never see her grandchildren. She died from cancer, liver cancer. Her mom passed away from breast cancer when she was a very young kid, so she had to grow up without her mother. She never got a chance to see us, so my mother never saw her grandchildren, would never see her grandchildren, and my mother's mom never got a chance to see us, which we're her grandchildren. And I like to, given the opportunity, be able to, you know, see those different generations. I like to be able to see those different generations, and I know that being healthy and, you know, having the right mindset mentally gives me a better chance.
Thank you. Now, you spoke a little bit about branding. Can you tell us a little bit about the history behind your brand?
I would sit in class and I would draw the logo and I would practice it and practice it and practice it, trying to fine tune it. I never fine tuned it in high school, but I kept my drafts. And we fast forward, I'm going to college now, and I never wanted to go to college in South Carolina. I really did not even apply to South Carolina schools outside of the University of South Carolina, but I went to the school that I went to because they wanted me to play basketball with them, and it kept me close to my parents, which I took a vested interest in their health, so I made sure I stayed close. And, you know, there were some sacrifices involved in that with me staying close, and I'm happy that I did, because it gave me an opportunity to be with my mom and go with her through her process as she took her last breath. But the pandemic happened, and while the pandemic, I'm not celebrating the pandemic by any means, the pandemic gave me an opportunity to kind of slow myself down. It gave me the chance to reinvent myself, to find out what is it that I want to do, because I often say that my life has been about other people. Everything in my life, everything about my life has been about other people, and it gave me a chance to focus on myself. And honestly, at that point I felt very lost, because I had lost so much and I felt alone. Like, now what do you do? What do you like to do? Like, so everything from high school started coming back. Everything started coming back, and I told myself, like, man, if I knew more about, you know, the body, maybe I could have helped my mom. And I don't know that for a fact, but I feel like if I knew more, then not just with her, I speak about her a lot because she's near and dear to my heart, but in general with people, I like to be able to help people. And so I started taking the coursework for training, physical training, not because I wanted to be a personal trainer, because I never wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to learn more about the body. And I started doing that. My friends and I started walking in the evenings, because that's all we could do during the pandemic. That's the only thing that we could do and be out, outside of being shut down. But we started walking, and then I remember telling them, okay, we need to do something different now. And so we started doing something different. I started buying equipment here and there for us to start training outside of just walking. We started training, and eventually I started picking up tips and giving nutritional tips and tips for the body, and it was working, and everybody was showing up every single day. And as a result of that, I was able to kick off my brand. Like, my brand then started coming. I had friends who bought items for me last year. Like, okay, well, I'll let you know when I'm ready for it. And I didn't even touch it, but they saw in me what I didn't see in myself at the time. But that's what jump started the brand. And yeah, that's pretty much the story, the short version of the story. Gotta go.